We have all been misled. For years, they've looked us straight in the eye and spun their tails. And this deception, it continues. Even now, across the globe, we hear the same falsehood echoed in the media, on our televisions, our radios, and the billboards that line our streets. It is the untruth that plastics can be recycled. And it's this very lie that's broadcasted by the industry that poses the gravest threat to our planet's well-being. Their aim? To persist in selling the product that holds the dubious distinction of being the greatest menace to our world's health. And in a twist of audacity, they lay the blame for the damage they have wrought upon our world squarely at our feet. In this video, we're going to unravel one of the greatest environmental falsehoods of our times. We'll delve into its background, reveal the stark reality, and discuss what we must do to rectify this. So, if you're ready, let's begin our journey of discovery. If the truth about plastics has left you startled, it's important that we delve into the annals of history to fully comprehend the grand deceit around plastic recycling that many find themselves entangled in. Before we embark on this journey, there's one crucial fact about plastics you must understand. Synthetic plastics are born from petroleum, the same notorious contributor to environmental issues. The inception of synthetic polymers, which we today know as plastic, can be traced back to 1869, when John Wesley Hyde ventured to create an alternative to ivory for a competition. His ingenious creation sparked an upsurge in plastic production and consumption. Subsequently, in 1907, Leo Baekeland concocted bakelite, the first fully synthetic plastic, a material conjured entirely by human innovation under laboratory conditions. This groundbreaking invention fueled an explosive growth in the plastics industry. The allure of plastics, their low cost, ease of production, and malleability, quickly made them an indispensable component of countless products, from kitchenware and food packaging to automobiles and textiles. The escalation of the Second World War bolstered the importance of plastics, as their mass production became invaluable. Items traditionally crafted from metals or non-metals were suddenly being replicated cheaper and faster with plastics. Furthermore, the U.S. government, under the banner of war and patriotism, compelled all plastic companies to unite, effectively establishing a monopoly that continues to shape the industry today. In the post-war period, flush with war profits, oil companies embarked on a marketing campaign to familiarize the public with their new plastic products. The Plastics Industry Association, representing all entities in the plastic supply chain, poured millions into advertisements extolling the virtues of plastic consumption. Despite the public's initial acceptance of plastics as durable, reusable products, the association, eager to boost sales, propagated the idea of even multi-use plastics as disposable items, an enticing, yet utterly unnecessary luxury. While there are instances where this may hold a shred of truth, it was, for the most part, a marketing ploy designed to encourage rampant plastic consumption. For instance, they propagated the myth that baby bottles should be used once and discarded, a notion that holds no weight when it comes to today's plastic bottles. So, as we delve deeper into the truth behind plastics, we find a rich tapestry of innovation, deception, and, unfortunately, considerable environmental impact. We've only just begun to unravel the web. Let's press on. At this juncture, one might ask, were these corporations oblivious to the environmental harm inflicted by plastic? Indeed, they were fully aware. Yet, in a system that values corporate profit over environmental conservation, they had little motivation to take action. Their concern for the environment was limited, serving only as a public relations tool, not an essential value. Nevertheless, the environmental movements of the 60s and 70s began to discern the immense threat plastic posed to our planet, prompting them to organize large-scale protests. These activists effectively rallied against plastic and oil companies, fostering a rapidly growing public awareness about the environmental toll of plastics. Notably, the Earth Day protest in 1970 saw an astonishing 20 million participants, equating to 1 in 10 Americans. Faced with mounting criticism, plastic corporations chose deception over reform, propagating the myth that plastics are recyclable, and that if the public simply committed to recycling, plastic pollution would cease to exist. This deception proved a far cheaper alternative, with fraudulent advertising costing near millions, compared to the potential billions or even trillions necessary to develop truly eco-friendly plastic technology. This subterfuge was largely successful, with the public readily adopting plastic recycling and recycling laws being enacted in many countries and cities. The plastics industry skillfully navigated this landscape, introducing misleading policies, such as a 1988 law in 40 U.S. states requiring a recycling symbol to be printed on all plastic products. The universally recognized recycling symbol, the three-arrowed loop created by Gary Anderson in the 70s, was subtly modified by inserting a number within the loop, implying all plastics were recyclable. Many were led to believe this number represented the recyclability or reusability of the plastic, but the truth was far from it. This number, known as the resin identification code, merely indicates the type of plastic material used. For instance, the number 1 represents the polymer known as polyethylene terephthalate or PET, the namesake of the PET bottle. Nevertheless, the aim was not to educate, but to reassure. When people saw the symbol, they believed that the plastic was recyclable, and that they were acting green by discarding such plastics in recycling bins. As Larry Thomas, vice president of the Plastics Industry Association, cynically stated, "If the public thinks that recycling is working, then they're not going to be as concerned about the environment." As we venture further into the depths of this multifaceted issue, it becomes increasingly clear that the landscape of plastics and recycling is much more complex and deceptive than it initially appears. Let's continue to unravel this fascinating and intricate narrative. People often question, if plastic isn't recycled, why is there a market for collected plastic? Why do recycling factories process hundreds of thousands of tons of plastic annually? The simple answer is that we're not suggesting that plastic is entirely unrecyclable. Rather, the stark reality is that only a small fraction, 9% of all the plastics produced are recycled at least once. This meager percentage of recycled plastic is what workers in recycling plants handle every day. The concept of 6.3 billion tons of plastic waste is indeed hard to grasp. To put it in perspective, the volume of plastic we produce is 1.5 times the total number of cars currently in the world. Likewise, the weight of plastics produced in just 2015 exceeded the combined weight of all humans on Earth. So, processing 9% of this colossal volume indeed demands enormous efforts. However, individual actions, factories, or even countries cannot change the stark statistic. Plastic recycling is simply inadequate. In an ideal world, could all plastics be 100% recyclable? To address this, let's delve into the nature of plastics. We generally categorize plastics into two groups: thermoset plastics and thermoplastics. The common thermoplastics include PET, HDPE, and polypropylene, while thermoset plastics include materials like epoxy, rubber, and polyurethane. Thermoset plastics, comprising 20 to 25% of annual global plastic production, are theoretically recyclable, but are practically unrecyclable with current methods. Thermoplastics make up the remaining 75%, constituting a significant portion of everyday plastics. In theory, these are more recyclable. However, their recycling potential is extremely limited. For instance, only PET and HDPE, plastics 1 and 2, can be effectively recycled at rates of 20 to 30%. And they can only be converted a maximum of 1 to 2 times before losing their resilience and integrity. Some thermoplastics, like polypropylene, are theoretically recyclable, but rarely recycled due to technological and financial constraints, often ending up as car parts or park benches. Hence, plastic is, unlike metal or glass, materials that can be melted down and reused indefinitely. At best, plastics can be recycled once or twice. Even the small percentage of theoretically recyclable plastics are scarcely recycled in practice. To recycle, companies need to invest in correctly sorting, recycling, and reproducing waste, which many companies choose not to do, creating merely an illusion of recycling. Additionally, less than 1% of plastic collected for recycling is properly sorted. Overcoming this crisis requires awareness of the political and marketing tactics these multinational corporations use to protect their profits. While recycling about 8 to 9% of plastics is undoubtedly better than 0%, and segregating your plastic waste is beneficial, it's crucial to recognize the limitations of the current recycling systems. For instance, the rising popularity of blue, single-stream plastic collection bins, where all waste, including theoretically recyclable plastics, can be dumped, has led to higher costs for separating non-recyclable plastics. Recognizing these complexities and nuances of plastic recycling can lead to more effective individual and collective action against the escalating global plastic waste problem. Just tossing your plastic waste into the recycling bin isn't the end of recycling. Plastics must be separated according to their type. Due to misinformation spread by the plastics industry, many people mistakenly believe that any plastic bearing a recycling number is recyclable. However, as discussed earlier, this is far from the truth. Even when you correctly dispose of recyclable plastics, there are bizarre rules and challenges. For instance, food residues on paper, cardboard, or polystyrene containers render them unrecyclable. Plastic bags, while theoretically recyclable, often get blown away or clog machinery in recycling facilities. Those paper cups from your favorite coffee shop, they're not even paper, they're coated with plastic, making them non-recyclable. Fast food sauce packets, they're often either entirely plastic or a mix of plastic and aluminum, again, non-recyclable. Similarly, mixed materials like scrap of paper thrown in with plastic and glass are nearly impossible to separate and hence, largely non-recyclable. Many specific items you might assume to be recyclable are not. Plastic wrapping papers, plastic smaller than 7.5 centimeters, flexible packages like chip bags, deodorant containers, water bottles with labels, food containers with open/close mechanisms, some yogurt and oil containers, polystyrene corks, plastic bags and plastic wrap. These non-recyclable plastics often end up being incinerated, polluting the atmosphere, or dumped into oceans or sold to impoverished nations, leading to grave environmental consequences. Being green isn't just about recycling. It's far more beneficial to focus on the reusability of the products you utilize and reducing your overall plastic consumption. But don't stop there. Remember, the environmental crisis cannot be solved by individual actions alone. It's a multifaceted problem created by large corporations and governments, and they're the ones who should be held accountable. Our role is to apply the appropriate pressures and elect the right leaders who are environmentally conscious. Let's shift our perspective towards environmental activists. They're not just hippies, but warriors fighting for our future. Support them, both financially and morally. Engage in the political process and be aware of the manipulative narratives spun by large corporations. Trust scientists and science communicators for your knowledge, not corporate advertisements. We're dealing with entities so voracious that they would readily trade our planet for profit. Therefore, understanding the reality is of paramount importance. Undeniably, plastics have greatly eased our lives. Imagining a world without them is challenging. However, as intelligent beings capable of altering our environment, we must also shoulder the responsibility it entails. Plastics might be convenient and useful, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're worth using. Remember to subscribe to our channel and like our video to stay updated with more scientifically backed content. Until our next video, goodbye and stay green.